सम्बन्धी आर्किटेक्चरल डिजाइन भन्दा पनि अहिलेको डिजिटल टेक्नोलोजिजहरुमा चाहिँ यो बीम सम्बन्धी नै पढाउने काम गर्छु।
ओके ओके भेरी गुड
स्टुडेन्ट्स प्लस अनि त्यो हाम्रो प्रोफेसनल कम्पनी एजुकेसनहरुमा पनि इन्भल्भ छु यो बीम सम्बन्धी चाहिँ अहिले।
भेरी नाइस
We can start now.
Good roles you have, very nice architecture.
We are live, right? All right. सबभन्दा पहिला त सबैलाई यो अहिलेको वेबिनार सेसनमा चाहिँ मेरो पर्सनल तर्फबाट पनि वेलकम। म चाहिँ अहिले नेपाल बीम फोरमको चेयरपर्सनको रूपमा कार्यरत छु र यो हाम्रो आजको वेबिनारमा चाहिँ भर्चुअल डिजाइन र कन्स्ट्रक्सनमा टर्नर कन्स्ट्रक्सनको पर्सपेक्टिभ र स्ट्र्याटेजिजहरु के हो भन्ने टाइपमा डिस्कसन्स गर्नेछौँ र यसमा हामीलाई एकदम एक्टिभली साथ दिएर सोनाका हाम्रो मेम्बरहरू र एक्जिक्युटिभ कमिटीका पदाधिकारीहरू पनि यसमा लागि पर्नु भएको छ र यसको लागि चाहिँ नेपाल बीम फोरमको तर्फबाट चाहिँ पर्सनली आई वान्ट टु कन्भे माई थ्याङ्क्स टु अल अफ यु। र हाम्रो आजको सेसनमा हाम्रो कपिल सरले चाहिँ वेलकम नोट राख्नुहुन्छ भनेपछि हाम्रो सुमन फ्रम अमेरिका विल बी प्रेजेन्टिङ अबाउट the perspective and the strategies, as well as architect Rajesh Tabasar will provide concluding notes or thank you notes for all. Over to you, Abil. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sunil sir. Society of Nepalese Architects ko tarfबाट Nepal BIM Forum ले जुन collaboration मा हामी चाहिँ first webinar organize गर्दैछौँ. Thank you everyone who are directly and indirectly involved in this webinar session. Thank you, Sunilji, for continuously pushing us for almost like 1 month before the handover program of the SONA. उहाँले चाहिँ हामीलाई यो प्रोग्राम गर्नको लागि चाहिँ पुश गरिराख्नु भएको छ, and also the speaker, architect Suman Panero. I remember him very well. मेरो junior पनि हुनुहुन्छ उहाँ, and a very genuine junior and genuine colleague in a college as well, and an enthusiastic colleague in a professional field as well. So this is a very interesting forum. हाम्रो लागि चाहिँ as a Society of Nepalese Architects 14th Executive Committee को लागि चाहिँ this is going to be the first formal larger platform जहाँ चाहिँ हामी Rajesh Tabasar is giving the thank you note and I'm doing this welcome note, and also take this opportunity to thank all the SONA members. And I'd like to inform briefly about the Society of Nepalese Architects 14th Executive Committee ले अहिलेसम्म गरिरहेको कामहरू र what we're planning to do. And I take this opportunity that we've also shared the membership information update form जहाँ चाहिँ विभिन्न नेपालमा रहनुभएका अथवा नेपाल बाहिर रहनुभएका आर्किटेक्टहरूलाई चाहिँ जसको इन्फर्मेसन पुरानो थियो इमेल अथवा फोन नम्बर, we kindly request you to update that. And the form will be shared, the Google form will also be shared in the Facebook link पनि हामी share गर्नेछौँ. And also the various thematic subcommittees हरूको लागि पनि we've invited the open Google form जहाँ चाहिँ विभिन्न सोसाइटीको मेम्बरलाई चाहिँ we ask them to fill up the interest form जहाँ चाहिँ अहिले हामी लिडरशिप चाहिँ फाइनल भइसकेको छ विभिन्न सब थीमेटिक कमिटीको लागि जस अनुसार चाहिँ हामी एक्सन प्लानमा चाहिँ वर्कआउट गर्नेछौँ. Within a week or couple of weeks we'll come up to that. But as a Raj sir is continuously pushing us for the young leadership, and we're also open for any kind of ideas and suggestions and a collaboration with your project like in this one by Sunil sir. And I hope आजको यो webinar everyone's gonna enjoy it, and today's webinar is a good platform to learn and share your understanding. And lastly, I'd say that let's stay safe and protect yourself and your family. And I heard that the new virus is a little bit more infected and infectious and fatal. So let's just stay safe, positive, and if possible, make this whole lockdown period productive as well. Thank you. Over to you, Suman.
Well, very good evening, everyone. Can you all see my screen here? Just want to make sure.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, perfect. First of all, I'd like to give a thank to all of you, SONA Executive Membership, and all the respective members here. I'm very delighted to share my experience and what I'm working on currently after living the country for last 6 years. So really humbled and I'm excited to present about this. But I want to also echo what our Apil sir said, that it's a time all of us want to be safe, sound, and take care of the friends and family. So please let me know if I can help you all in a personal, professional way. I'm more than happy to do so, and pray for all of yours, friends, families, good health there. So today's topic is virtual design and construction, and I would like to share the perspective from the general contractor point of view. I hope you learned something. I'm not trying to teach you the entire virtual design and construction aspect, but my idea is to give a high level 3,000 meter overview. Hopefully that will ignite some thoughts and curiosity inside all of you. So I did my bachelor's from Pulsar campus, and I'm very humbled that Rajesh sir have taught me so many courses, building construction, project management, and so many more. So I've learned a lot from him. And after my bachelor's degree, I came to US for my master's in construction management. After that, I worked as a quality control engineer for ready-mix concrete. Then I also worked as assistant engineer, pretty much managing change order process between design and construction, how to track it, managing the submittals, those sort of things. Currently, I'm working as a VDC engineer. VDC stands for Virtual Design and Construction, where my approach is let's build a building first before we build into the ground, so that we can always push for a better product for our client. So this is a little bit about the company that I work for. It's one of the largest North American general contractor, and also we have a lot of projects internationally. All you can see here is different kinds of building that was done in 2019. From stadiums, high rises, low rises, hospitals, schools, and mostly in the building construction sector. So they put together all the buildings that has been completed in 2019 and then make a city called Turner City 2019. 2020 is coming up shortly, so I could not put that on here, but you can see the range of the project, type of the project, and complexity that we deal on day-to-day basis. So the cutting edge technology becomes a very important workflow for us here at Turner Construction. So today I'm gonna shortly define, or at least share, what the virtual design and construction means to us at Turner Construction. And then I'll also share how we use that idea in our project with some examples. I will also share some of the current technology that has been used recently to coordinate the construction project. And then we'll share a benefit of virtual design and construction. Of course, all that benefit comes with the challenges, so I'm gonna hit on that as well. And then finally, a few conclusion, and then question answer probably for 10 minutes. The goal is to finish presentation in 30 to 40 minutes, and then question answer for 10 more minutes. So what is virtual design and construction? People in North America have used this idea as interchangeably with the building information model, which means a digital replica 3D model that is information rich. The point to note is the information here. And then also people also refer sometimes as a digital practice. There is a different standards, and not like these are not a national standards or the government standard. These are just the forum standards. We have a BIM forum that have developed a LOD requirement. LOD stands for detail level. So if we were to model footings, how detailed it needs to be, or column, what is the detail window, and so on and so forth. So pretty much they control, or they share the idea what would be a required detailing we need on different phases of the project, from design to construction to the turnover. American Institute of Architects, they also have standards on how the BIM mean in the contractual firm. A lot of the contractual language are written by AIA firms, so it is very important that AIA includes BIM scope in their contract part. And then they also have GSA, which is more like a government organization building the federal building. They also have their own standards. All in all, for us at Turner Construction, it's about integrating our people with our process with the help of technology. So what does that mean and why that is important? It's because, construction is a gigantic, teams, and you can think of from owners, architects, engineers, general contractors, trade contractors, public. So all of those people, right? It's a huge team. So we want to make sure all the team have their voice, concerns, and everything is there. As a people is who is going to build the project. So that's why people piece is very important. Process is where Turner Construction comes, and we have a different standards that we need to follow as a company. Industry standards. In some cases, we go even above and beyond of our company standards. So that's another piece, and technology is going to be the tools that we use to perform the task. So to have a successful project, we need to make sure people who are doing the work, processes that help us to get the job done, and then technology that helps perform the work needs to come together. And that is the versatile design and construction to us as a company. We want to make sure we have win-win situation between our internal team, external team, and that's where people, process, and technology comes. So, why do we need to go for VDC approach, and why it is so important for us? And you can see some of these funny examples. I just pulled these from the internet, and one of the example where you can see, fire extinguisher is on the top, and the person is not able to access. So one of the thing is, in mega jobs, we want to make sure that everything is accessible from the maintenance standpoint, from the design standpoint. So, simple example like fire extinguisher there. And you can see the bridges that they started to build from the opposite side, and bridge doesn't meet. Of course, we don't want that to happen. And you can see the smaller things like that, on the bottom right, where you can see the column is not on the center there, supposed to be in center. Yes, it's a small thing, but if you look from the stresses and structural perspective, it's not going to transfer the loads, it is supposed to transfer. Some example, bathroom, of course, that's not going to work. You can't have two people using that bathroom. And of course, that's a flaws. And we don't want some of those happen on our project. And you can see the emergency exit. I don't even think it will serve as emergency exit. So some of these issues from maintenance, access, coordination, we want to avoid that. And that's where we see the value as a company on investing on the VDC. So that brings to another point, and I'm going to hit a little bit more on the technology side today. So you can see these are the different tools. Some of the tools you may already be familiar with, and some of those may not be, but pretty much, AutoCAD, Revit, Navisworks, ArchiCAD, and it goes so on and so forth. But you can see the tools, and what we do is this is the one of the section. Again, I pulled this from the internet as an example, and I think it shows one of the ceiling level of the project, and can be seen very nicely. Fire protection, supply duct, return duct, exhaust duct in different colors, lightings, and you can see all those services that needs to be in building to run a building. We model all of that and coordinate. So, to get a little bit in deep here, you can see the structures, mechanical services, foundation, all of these, we put it together and create a federated model, or also called consolidated model. And why do we do that? Is because we want to run a class test. So to make sure, nothing is clashing with each other. That's our goal. So you can see on the left side there, hard class, which means that duct is, penetrating the structural beam. Of course, that can't be done, unless it's designed that way. But usually structural beams are not allowed, to penetrate because of the shear and the moment there. So other could be soft class, which means let's say you wanted to open the door, but you can't open the door fully. And that is also essential. If you think from the panels, electrical panels, control panels, fire protection panels, you won't be able to do that. So that, soft class also is important. And other could be the logistic class. And it's important to think about as well, because we're going to have a lot of logistics made to build a building. And I'll hit on that a little bit later, but also you can see the situation where logistic could clash with the actual building, and of course that's not going to work. So our goal, from the versatile design and construction approach, is to mitigate all of these problems. I know I'm going quick just because of the time, but I wanted to share, VDC is not just used in the construction phase, but can be used, in various phases of the project lifecycle. And looking from the design, can be used for engineering analysis, documentation, to document existing condition. And of course, it would be a great visual tool so that design engineers, owners, everybody can share their ideas and make a better product. So when we jump into the pre-construction phase, where estimating, bidding, scheduling, logistic planning, constructability analysis happens, and having that 3D model with the data helps a lot. And I also touched on a coordination aspect already on the construction, where we can do the trade coordination. So trades are, mechanical trades are not going to work on electrical. Electrical trades are not going to work on the building control management. So we want to make sure that each trade have their scope coordinated. And from that coordinated model, they would be able to generate shop drawing or the fab drawing, which is more or less detailed drawing with each and every information, because design drawing won't have that detailed dimensional information. They will just be design intent. So also can be used for model-based layout using the total station. So each point on the ceiling will be shoot and make sure that it's on the right location. Of course, will be great tool to do the QC. And ultimately, design is done for a year or two. Construction is done, probably for 3 to 4 years, but building is going to be used for many years, 30 to 40 years. So the closeout document is very important, and we take that very serious in our company to make sure that owners will get the accurate as-built information for their facility management purposes, where they will have all the asset and warranty information required. And of course, we can use it for many more. And because of time, I don't want to dive into it, but want to share the real example that I'm, going to share here. And the project type is data center, and it's 1 million square foot. And then budget is, roughly a little bit above the 500 million. And I cannot name the client for the confidential purposes here. So you can see, and again, this is a confidential project. I cannot share you all the details, but I can share you some screenshot here. This is a water treatment room inside the facility where we are doing the MEPF trade. MEPF stand for mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and fire protection. So if you see that blue line there, that's a plumbing line. Of course, plumbing will also have the industrial supply, return, and all those good stuff there. And structural, you can see that red, red color structural system. But nonetheless, this is a very complex room where there will be various trade coming around. So we want to make sure each one of them have a room, and all of these valves are supposed to function in a certain way, and we want to make sure they have a room. And that's the whole reason why we do the coordination. And after each installation, sometimes after each trade installation, we go and do the laser scanning. I will touch on the laser scanning a little bit later to confirm that they install as per the coordinated model. And of course, by doing that, it helps to detect installation error and plan accordingly to avoid the issue that could happen in the field. So another example is you can see that big purplish colored duct on my right hand side. That's the constructed duct I mean, they say it's the as-built information, but when we scan, we found that duct was actually 3 foot, to the left. And sometimes, overlaying the beam and scan data help us to verify if the as-built information is actually as-built or not. And it helps to, catch the deviations that occurs in the model. And if that is following the spec requirement or not. Usually that, these kind of facilities are very spec stringent, and we want to make sure that we're not missing anything. Floor flatness, a test for the equipment pad. Some of the equipment could be very, susceptible to the flatness. So we need to make sure that they are flat, absolutely flat, and we need to verify that. And doing the laser scanning will help us. We can do the, flatness test, and of course can be used for as-built purposes. Other way that we use is for the logistical planning. To build this mega project, we need very sophisticated logistic planning, and drone can be very handy for us. And you can see here all those LOS line are the underground utilities. I'm not going to be naming those because of the confidential purposes, but those are electrical dock banks, and so they are huge, and of course we can't hit that line, and that's why this logistical planning becomes nightmare, especially in this type of big jobs. And on logistics will include temporary utilities, laydown yards, and all those good stuff. And so if someone to go and dig here, they have to have a dig permit from us to verify that no utility will be on the ground, or they have a plan in place if they were to dig. And you can see from drone footage, we'll be also able to see the high level overview from week to week progress, how the work is progressing. Are we on the schedule? Are we making the good progress? Even if the data that we get from the drone is not as precise as from the laser scanner, is still, I think, it is very beneficial for us. And last use that we use for scan for renovation, which means the existing facility, that we want to capture the existing situation. And this is going to be a good tool because we can, just by measuring with the tape or, a total station, we're not going to be able to get all the details, color, texture, size, and so on and so forth. But just by doing a one scan, we'll be able to capture the existing condition. And we can import these, scan into the Revit and get the plan, section, elevation quickly. And even if we have an as-built information of the facility have it, we still prefer to do the scanning just to make sure, there is no missing info. It is going to be quick, accurate, efficient, and captures all the required information for us. So with that, I want to touch on some of the current technology that is, going on in 2021 for the construction technology. And you can see, a lot of iPads in construction job site, Internet of Things are already, becoming a very commonplace. And I wanted to kind of, I know I use some of the jargon, but I wanted to give a little bit of clarity there. So you can see, drone, and it's very simple, and it could be used for, street mapping, heritage mapping, conservation mapping, or anything, for that matter, to capture the existing condition. It's very useful, and it's cheap, it's not super expensive as well. And you can see on the right, that's like a laser scanner, which will be helpful to document interior and exterior of the building. It'll be good to, have a laser scanning information of the important building that people care about and can be used for renovation and retrofit quite easily. Virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, some of these terms are, also being very much widely used. In our job site, we use all of these technology, and you can see on the right, virtual reality is where you allow yourself and you'll be in the full immersion, and it will help to do the design coordination and auditing, making sure all the systems are there and, supposed to function the way they are supposed to, structure, architecture, mechanicals, electrical, and everything. And on the left, you can see that, a real construction job site where you walk with the iPad and you will overlay the site information with the coordinated model that will give you what is the progress on the job site, how we are doing, and is that installation accurate? And all of this will help to do the quality control of the project. So that said, what are the benefits? Benefit is, of course, improved communication. In a big job, communication is the key, and construction is all about communication, from top to bottom, from owner to trade, and from the companies to individuals. So it's very important that we have a good communication in place and everyone is on the same page. It also helps to visualize the scopes between the trades. There is not going to be any confusion, who is going to install what, because we already know what is their scope, and those scope will be modeled by the trade. So it's going to be quick scope visualization tool. Quantity takeoff, of course, we can take up the quantity quite easily. This will help to also reduce the change order. So change order are the document that occurs after the drawing is issued as a contract document. So after contract documents are issued, then they need to track if anything changes because of the site condition, because of the owner's changes, or because they had to change it because of some issues. At that point, it becomes change order. And of course, we want to reduce the change order as much as possible, because one change order could take anywhere between 7 days to 2 weeks. So we want to make sure we don't have that latency or the wait time. And another important key thing is the fabrication. We want to be 100% fabricated job site, so that everything will be fabricated offsite and comes into the truck, which is installed for most of the scope, as much as we could. And the goal of this VDC coordination is to increase and optimize the fabrication. And ultimately, it will help to gain the schedule, because time is money. We don't have a luxury of time. And of course, our contractual requirement will be to turn over the building on time. So having that coordination will help us to realize that we can optimize the schedule. And all of these things, right? Having less change order, increased fabrication, controlling on the schedule, having less problem or less fight on the job site, that will ultimately lower the cost. And that's exactly what we want to do. And also gives us the higher safety and quality. And safety is the #1 priority for us as a company. And it is important. All of that to say, all of these things, comes with the challenges. And what are the challenges for us on the implementation? It is quite expensive initially, because you need to pay for the people to model all the scopes. There will be big team involved on it. Cost of people, process, and technology is going to be the overhead cost in the beginning, and that's a significant amount when you are looking at the labor cost here in the US. It's pretty expensive. And then also other challenges is project delivery method. Not always we will have one type of contract. Sometimes lump sum, sometimes cost plus fee, sometimes GMP, which is guaranteed maximum price at risk, sometimes IPD, integrated project delivery. So depending on the contract, how we can buy the scope will be dictated. So sort of this become a challenge. And so all of this to say, if your leadership or your owners is not ready to pay for it, or is not willing to invest in this process, then you may not be able to get the things done. So leadership sponsorship becomes another key aspect. Not all the leaders understand the process or wants to pay for that. And also ultimately the trust in the process. If you don't have the trust in the process, then it's very hard for anyone to get the things done. And especially trade partners needs to trust with the process, so that they can say, okay, we are good to go there. So all of that to say, I want to conclude by saying, with the VDC approach, we're able to reduce the cost, reduce the schedule, that means optimize the schedule, and create a better quality of the products. that said, any questions? If you all have any questions, please let me know.
Presentation, Shimon. It was good to know about how the systems work there, at least what are the focuses within this visual design and construction aspects in your company. There has been no any comments or questions in the chat. If there is any questions, maybe we can come back later. So maybe this would be the time for architect Rajesh Tapsar to convey his thank you note or comments on how the content was. And as said earlier, so I'd really like to thank SONA members and all of those guys who have been actively playing a big role in making this happen. Architect Rajesh Tapsar, if you're ready, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sunil. And wonderful, Suman.
Yes, sir.
Very nice to
Thank you.
see you. And, you know, actually, I'm very happy because in the sense that I still remember when you finished your finals and you said, so I wanted to get into construction management. And I remember writing your recommendation as well. And
Yes.
you
Thank you for that.
very happy that you have been a very successful man now with doing so much work. And yes, of course, you know, at the same time, I'd like to also thank, you know, Sunil, because he's also one of our first batches in COPA. And I still remember that. And great to see young guys like you, you know, doing so well. And it's a proud moment for, you know, a teacher when he sees that your students do very well. Anyway, coming to this topic, I think I'll leave the vote of thanks for, I'll just give the closing remarks. But can I leave the vote of thanks to, I think, Naveen Gishing? Is he there? Naveen, are you there? Because he's the you know, person looking after the subcommittee on making this happen. So maybe I think I owe it to him. But anyway, I'll just give you the closing remarks. Yes, we have been talking about, you know, a lot of things. And one of the things that does come to my mind is the imagery that one needs to do prior to the construction. I remember doing a project a long time ago. Those days, we didn't have the computers as such. And I was doing the pseudo tobacco factory in Simra, which is in Nepal, yeah, Bilganj. And we spent a lot of time in designing, a lot of time in detailing. Design was not very complicated, but a lot of detailing. And each and everything was discussed thoroughly. In Nepal, I think clients don't go through that. The pseudo tobacco factory that we were building up had ITC, Indian Tobacco Company people involved. And they had done a lot of factories, so, and they were looking at everything minutely. You know? And this is where what we have today, the BIM. But that time we were doing the detailing so much that during construction, that after, when it came to construction, I mean, nothing, you know, there was no hassles anywhere. Everything was, the blueprint was understood completely. And I think the construction went on, you know, on schedule, or I think, and the pricing, everything was understood very well. There were no, you know, errors, so as to say. Unfortunately, we don't do that in Nepalese projects. Because many of our clients are not, programmed that way, I would say. They would like to get things off. They wouldn't spend so much time on designing and detailings. And this is why I think today when we have talked about technology, that Suman presented, these are things that, like you said, the benefits are there in the end. Cost, the schedule, the quality, because everything is known. I always say this to our consultants, to my architects who work with me, to college students where I teach also. I tell them most of the time we always think design is just the 4 elevations in the plan. And then we say, damn good. Elevation, is perfect. We've got it, the building. We are very weak in, that's why buildings suffer in detailing. Our buildings suffer in detailing, and because most of the time we spend so much time on the site going up and down, trying to explain to the contractor what we exactly want. These are problems. Early, what is happening in Nepal, even I'm sure we've sent invitations to FCAN as well, the Contractors Association of Nepal. The contractors, they were more like business people. Today, the contracting company has got sons who have taken over the companies, who are themselves engineers from AIT and management and engineering from US or whatever. They've got the knowledge and they understand technology, they understand drawing, they understand. So there is a shift. And I'm sure when you talk about all these, the VDC, the virtual design and construction thing, they talk, that becomes very useful together with them. Because now they understand. I think it's time that we are able to launch such things. This is, I'm sure this will be the, starting of many such events that Sunil from Finland and Suman from USA and we here, we can promote the industry or give knowledge to the industry. Therefore, that's why we invited the Society of Consulting Engineers and Architectural Engineers, engineering firms, NEA, Tupsan, CINEP, structural societies and all that. So it is this thing that we need. Only thing, like I said, technology is there, then we can do the BIM. When the technology is not there, let's get the detailing done very well. Once you know that, then you know what you want. So that is the area where we should really look at. And yes, when you talked about what was that? Yes, the benefits. I would just say the benefits is really 2 things that we need in Nepal is we don't want any viewers, no variation orders. That is the thing that is really going on. That's why I'm also trying to promote design and build. Once you have design and build, then probably you are responsible in there will be no viewers, variation orders. Here, because we have a design and we have a contractor, there are gaps. And I think these benefits are very good. And of course, besides that, the quality is something that we suffer with also. We've seen lately in the news, bridges falling down, the bridges which are being constructed right now. So all this is there. I'm sure the technology will come in and we'll see improvements. But I'm very proud by the young architects like yourselves are doing so wonderful well in foreign lands, which is a very difficult job. I know that. And you've VDC code, and I'm sure many of our attendees today will be able to be able to use some of the benefits from this lecture that we had today. Well, I'll ask Naveen, are you there, Naveen? If Naveen, I want Naveen to give the vote of thanks on our behalf. I don't know if he's there. Let me just check.
Definitely is. Right, so thank you very much. Naveen is there, but his mic is still muted.
Okay.
Naveen, can you hear us? Or if you unmute your mic, maybe you can also talk and then we can hear. Or maybe if Pradeep or Apple would kind of remind him. But meanwhile, so there have been a couple of comments in the comment section, and I would like to thank Rajesh sir for the overall perspective of why this virtual design and construction is important. Of course, we as a Nepal BIM Forum or as professionals that have been graduated from Nepal and working in different places. So we are kind of planning to work within the Nepalese community so as to at least provide some of the benefits that we have heard from or that we have had experience of. And that's how we have come to know together through Nepal BIM Forum, as these things are there. They do provide benefit, and Nepalese community should also kind of get benefits from at least the minimum benefits just by knowing it. Of course, we have been working in the different levels to promote these things, and I would like to go to a couple of comments that was there in the chat session. Of course, Sakar Srestha has his hand raised there. I'm not sure if you're able to talk, but I guess he's your old friend, and he has commented there that it's wonderful to see you after so long. Yes, if you could share your Bowling Green college-days educational experiences against the US educational systems, I think.
Yeah, it was a really good experience. I learned a lot. Like I said, especially one of the things that I learned from US educational system is the flexibility. Just because we study architecture doesn't mean we just have to design. There is a lot of area where we can work. And one of the things that I learned, going to construction management program where there is a lot of variation of the students, business, undergrad business, grad in construction management, undergrad engineers, grad in construction management. And, like that gave me a very unique perspective. And also, it's like a global experience where you see the students from all over the place, trying to learn, trying to understand what the management of construction is. Like Rajesh sir said earlier, it is a one of the things to think about. We can design great, but if we can't build great, then that's when we fail. And we don't want to fail as an, as a professional. So Bowling Green suddenly prepared for me that, and as soon as I was almost about to be done with my master's, I did an internship as a ready-mix concrete company. It's like, Panchakanya ready-mix. So I was a quality control engineer pouring 7,000 cubic yard of concrete on a night. So it was a lot of concrete for a 700 million breeze that we built. And after that, I joined the SSOE group. Also, as Bowling Green prepared for me that as a VDC engineer, and I was able to build the Gigafactory in Nevada for a Tesla car. If you all know what the Tesla car is, so I was able to get hands-on for the Model 3 production line as well. And after that, I joined the Turner to build different facilities for one of our confidential client. And ever since I'm doing this, and like I said, Pulsar campus and Bowling Green has prepared me to take on the challenges that exist not just in local arena, but in the global facet. The only one thing that I would say is to all the Nepalese professional, that our education is not weak. We need to think and push ourselves every day and be honest about ourselves. And like every time we draw a line, we have to ask ourselves, are we being honest to the society, to the people we're trying to serve? Are we being rational for the future generations to come? Because once we build it, it's very hard to dismantle it and then again rebuild it. So it's something that as an individual, as a professional, we need to think about that. And I think if we can do that, I don't think education null experience will be a barrier for us, for the quality of construction. Thank you.
Comments about your presentation. Thanking you. There are thanks from Srima, Okendra, Saurabh, and most probably all. And Navin's connection is not working properly, I guess. But nevertheless, of course, we architects can think how the design would be in our heads, but this kind of tools definitely provides even the laymen to understand better as how the designs are being done and how they should be constructed. Of course, when we talk about the whole life cycle, there are different benefits at different phases. And one of the main drawbacks, not to say as drawbacks, but let's say one of the challenges that our Nepalese engineering community faces is because it's somehow new technology, even though it's already 30 to 40 years old or even before. We know how things are done, but there are not enough competent engineers who are really able to do it. But of course, together we can do that, and hopefully in the near future that we can see that it's going to happen pretty much in near future if we work together. And also Shuman Apil's comment, wonderful to see you after long many years. I think it was the same, I guess that was from the, yes, that was earlier discussed. So
yeah,
maybe
one thing that I would say on the educational forefront is, every week we just had to do the 9 hours of study. If I remember in Pulso campus, it was all day, every day for 5-6 days. And I feel like we take a lot of credit hours. And here it's very flexible. And like I said, I was construction management student, but if I want to take a business course, I can take it. If I want to take a computer science course, I can take it. And I actually took it, I took it to learn how the artificial intelligence and computer vision can be used in construction, which is, even a very cutting edge for the US. So I would say, it's very important to have an education or campus-wide program where if you want to take some courses because you want to learn about it, there should be a way rather than just having all the courses that are, just fixed. So here they have a lot of flexible courses on top of like few courses that you took to measure on that area. So that's only one of the differences. But other than that, I think, they have a assignment all the time rather than, depending on the final exam. Yes, they do have a final exam, but it's not like as tough as we have. It's quite easy because you are putting, time every week and a lot of self-study and honestly, they'll prefer for your interest rather than what is dictated. And something that I felt, at least in my days in Tulsa campus, it was not that, we had to finish all the courses, whether I like it or not. I just have to finish it. And also I think that as a, good or bad both, because good is I'll be able to learn something that I'm not willing to learn. And also, that's the one thing, but again, I think having a interdepartmental course, whether it's in computer science, businesses, or any for that matter, would be very helpful thing to have as a leading institution, program that I was in, But other than that, I think I would say a lot of similarities to draw between the courses in Nepal and here.
Sunil, I think Navin's connection is not there. So when it's time, I may just give him the vote of thanks if he's not there. So when the time is there, when you want to end.
our schedule time is was for 1 hour. We are already a little bit near to the closing session. I guess we are 7 minutes from the scheduled time. If Apil has something to say, or if there is some discussions that we would like to proceed, of course. Otherwise, we can also go to the vote of thanks in a way. Apil, any comments or views from your side? Of course, we have been working with SONA, and I have personally forgot to congratulate the new executive committee to this. Is the first time we are working together with this new committee. Of course, there are networks and we know each other from different perspectives. And of course, Navin sir is also involved in Nepal BIM Forum as a member there. Definitely, personally, congratulations from my side to Rajesh sir and all the committee members at Navin.
Thank you, Sunil. Just one question is to both of you, actually. You in Finland, Suman is in USA. You studied Kopa, he's from Pulchok. How do you get connected?
The first primary was, as said, so from Nepal BIM Forum, we were working around as how these digital construction tools could provide benefit for the Nepalese industry, and Suman was also interested there. Of course, we have other different connections. Last time we had a presentation from Suman's colleague Danjit too. He was from Australia. So most of the professionals who are kind of working at the moment are planning or wanting to contribute, and it's glad to say that Nepal BIM Forum is at least a small platform at the moment to kind of come together and promote these activities together. So Nepal BIM Forum is the first one.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah, and the way, and to add on that, when I did my presentation at Autodesk University last year, or actually year before, it was about laser scanning and how we use the laser scanning. And that was a global conference with 15,000 attending, and it was a very good experience. And from that, Danjit and I discussed that it is a time that we share the knowledge, and of course, that would be a starting point is the Nepal BIM Forum. But obviously, it'd be good to be engaged with contractor association or other governmental agencies, so that we can actually bring some changes to the construction from the supply chain perspective. And I say that a lot of gap that I'm seeing is our workforce. We need to develop the workflows. We need to train them. We need to train good electrician, good plumber, good duct feeders, and good bricklayer. And so many of those things needs to be done. And if we really want to build a nation that is going to be based on the quality, and for that I thought this is going to be first step where we try to share our idea. And again, I saw one question where it says, what is the difference? And I think the major difference that I see between a developer and our case is the labor force. Labor force here is very intelligent, and they have a lot of experience. They can contribute intelligently. A lot of time they provide feedbacks to the engineers, architect. Hey, this detail that you have worked may not work because I've been doing this for 30 years. Can you give a second thought? And like I said, in our case, I feel like, we need to start, like training and building the nation from the bottom up approach, not just the top down approach. And I think if we can do that, we'll be able to build good buildings. And one of the things that I say is, I was looking at the view from there, and my heart broke. We have all the concrete. I mean, it could be all glass, right, and still look beautiful. And I was thinking about it, like, can we have all the cotton wall panels? And answer is most likely no, because to have a cotton wall panel, we need to have a worker that can actually put the cotton wall in there. And for that, we need to have a lot of coordination, because that system needs certain kind of detail. For that, we need that kind of builder. So, it goes on, and it's not just one thing, and one person is not going to do a whole lot, but like Sunil said, it's a time where, we all are trying to do something for the betterment of our industry in whole.
Yeah, Suman, I think you're right. Like I said, the scenario of contractors, what I knew them 40 years ago, and now what I'm seeing, there's a lot of change, and definitely this thing. By the way, before we end, I just want to ask you also, I was the president of the Society of Consulting Architecture and Engineering Firms till last year, before it, and I signed a lot of, mutual understandings with different countries and associations, one of which was the Association of Civil Engineers in USA, Nepalese.
Oh, that's
I think Nepalese engineers in USA. Now I need both of your help because one is in Europe, one is in America. Is there similar groups of architects where SONA can now make a understanding, and then it can, we can learn a lot from the people out there. Like today we got new technology on VDC. Similarly, we can pass on some of these things, and there will be a mutual thing of working together in improving the scenario in Nepal. Maybe trainings, maybe other things as well.
Yeah, it is a AIA here. AIA is the governing. NCARB is the body that licenses architect, National Accreditation of Architectural Board. But once that is done, a lot of folks join the AIA. So AIA is the governing body for architects. AGC, Associated General Contractors, is the body that governs general contractors, and for mechanical, electrical contractors. So there's a lot of bodies, but I would say AIA and AGC would be a good one to collaborate.
Yeah, AIA, yes, so we can collaborate with them, but I'm looking for groups of Nepalese architects who are, because they will be more, more encouraged or more liable or more helpful towards Nepal. That's why I got collaboration with others, like Nepalese engineers.
As Rajesh said, so it's kind of, if there are Nepalese group of architects who have this kind of organizations or something, that might be the easy way to kind of get these things further. But of course, although countries will have their association of architects, and if we want to contribute or collaborate with them, and of course there would be a possibility, and the plus point is because we are kind of in different places, we can of course make these kind of discussions if they would be interested to have these kind of collaboration aspects. For European part, normally, as per my understanding, I don't know if there is any kind of architectural associations where the Nepalese are actively involving, but of course in the UK there are some engineer groups, and maybe there are some people who are also actively involved through the non-residents Nepalese association. So I can start the discussions around if there would be engineering associations that would like to have collaborations with SONA. Definitely, yes.
Yeah, actually, I had the engineering association from UK. They came to talk to us about, when I was the consulting company's president, they came to talk about the railroad, the trains, underground trains and things like that, because we are talking about. So these sort of things, maybe architects, society architects with SONA, how we can, of course, not that we don't want the engineers, but preferably architects would be better. If you can explore that, it will be great.
Definitely. So we can try it from our side. Of course, we'll try. And before I pass on to Apple, there was a small question or comment in the chat. So they ask if there has been any kind of technologies around laser scanning, later that have been installed on different phones or tablets and are being used in US. Do you happen to know anything about it?
Yeah, so usually, yes, Apple's and some of the, smartphone companies are trying to use their, cameras to get the LiDAR scanner. But I don't think, it's going to be a year or two where we'll be able to scan and, and be able to use it for construction purposes. However, there are some cheaper cameras, BLK360 and some other cameras, they're pretty cheap and can be used to do the scanning. Also, there is, I would say, few technologies out there where you take a lot of photos, series of photos, and then you upload that into the platform, and they'll give you the laser scanning data. So short answer, no. Long answer, yes. I mean, if we need reliable data, probably that's not the route to go, I would say. But definitely something is better than nothing, for sure.
Yeah, definitely depends on the technology that we use. Just an overview of what is here in Finland, or where I'm involved, is we are taking this 360-degree pictures from a camera called Matterport, and they have this automate the 360 pictures that could be used to download different mesh objects, or even if you use different other application, convert that to the point clouds and so on. But nevertheless, Apil, over to you if you have some comments, points, what you want to put in for, because we are already over the schedule, I guess. So please, Apil.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you very much. Thank you, Suman, for your very informative presentation. And it's covered a very challenging task that we're lacking in our subscription technology. And especially your answer is very right question to answer them in a way and in this experience, especially about the staff and others. So I'd say the things that you mentioned about the MEP and the subscription technology and the things that you mentioned about the workflow and the workforce that we lack a large scale. We even have the efficient workflow that we can be reliable and meet the deadlines, and also the mention about the workforce that we are lacking in the regulation that we changes. So we need to work on that. And after that, but I also see it as a very good opportunity to leapfrog in the technology, because in the global term, everyone is working, everyone is learning in this platform, and this is the shared platform. So one can just search the opportunity that they are available to. So the stability or the newness available in the construction technology and improving day by day is what allows us to adapt features that are available with our new construction technology, and also that very large construction projects coming up in the online technology. So thank you for that. We try to keep on and further I started to have my very much optimistic to collaborate with international artists that we have all around us, and even try to do all the learning from the outside, using the
Yeah, I'm not able to upload the PDF here, but I will share on the Facebook group.
It's a bit difficult for me to hear everything, but I guess definitely we are up for the future collaborations too. And maybe I would now like to ask Tabasur again to have some concluding remarks or a vote of thanks for all the participants for investing their time and listening to us.
Thank you again, Sunil, and thank you, everyone. I think, the presentation, of course, is very good, and I think the questions were not there. To be very honest, the questions were not there because I think the scale of the project you were showing is very much different than the scale that we have here. Number one, and that way, probably, it was something that, the technology which is not available, we were just seeing it as if it is something that we dream of. So I'm sure after a few years, maybe when technology does come up here as well, we'll have questions. As of now, even like computers, like I said, when we started, we never had these computers, but now you are the computers, you are driving it like motorbikes, going around with it with so many options that we have. So it is a process that will come, but nevertheless, I think it's a very great presentation in the sense that yes, simple things can better the whole effect of the construction at large. And in simple words, I think, like, I come back again, get your objective correct, and then your construction will be okay. If you don't have your objective correct, you naturally you run into, muddy waters at times. Anyway, I think on behalf of SONA, on behalf of all the participants, I'm very sorry that we have to do it very early morning for Suman. I think
it's not early for me. It was good. Thank you.
Okay. It was not early for you, but also for Sunil, it's a working day for him. You probably are about what, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, or something like that.
It's 5 in the evening now.
Sorry?
It's 5 in the evening now.
Oh, 5 in the evening. Oh, not bad. So you're not very far behind.
No.
So anyway, this thing, unfortunately, from today, we are having a lockdown for 10 districts, Kathmandu included. I hope, we will get out of all this. And, Suman, you are also in a very dangerous area. The USA is topping in COVID cases. But don't worry, India is coming up very fast. Nepal is also galloping in its own way, but population not big. But stay safe. And definitely we hope to see you again. And we hope to see you as, very effective and very, encouraging, very knowledgeable SONA members also. And so that you can carry our message around the world. Thank you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it, for having this wonderful opportunity for me. And also, given all the lockdowns, COVID, and all the situations, I request all of you to be very careful. And, at least that I was lucky that I did not get the COVID. I also have second vaccination, but, not everyone's are in that situation. So I request all of you to be safe, sound, and if anything that I can do personally and professionally, please do let me know. And really, appreciated SONA 14th executive member, and I'm very much looking forward to be involving in other activities through the SONA as well. So appreciated everyone, and really appreciated positive chat and feedbacks from so many people. I know all of those folks are very dearest to me, and really appreciate it. I'm not going to take a name, but